If the mundane world allows leisure to ride on the moon, I also know my intentions in my heart. Life is like a deck of cards, we cannot decide the initial card, but we can decide the order of playing. Shanado. Mega Evolution. Chapter 1. The New Era. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ah. Whispering heavily and panting heavily, Qingyu looked around and felt a bit confused for a moment. Quietly stepping out of bed, feeling the gentle breeze and the sunlight, Qingyu forcefully slapped her face. Not a dream. Turning around, holding the bedside phone in her hand and looking at the familiar wallpaper, Qingyu only had one thought in her mind. I'm not dead. Taking a glance at the time, the years and months on the calendar plunged Qingyu into ecstasy, returning to the past. After opening the short video app and watching the news for a while, I threw my phone aside and felt a sense of melancholy on my face. Good news. Reborn. Bad news. The world is different. Just as Qingyu was thinking about how to live in this world, an electronic sound startled her. May the system serve you. The electronic sound of the predicate in Qingyu's ears is like winning tens of millions of lottery tickets. System. In the past life, Qingyu also understood the value of the system to the traveler. After trying to communicate with the system for a while, Qingyu also understood the direction of the world. Lying in bed, looking at the ceiling, Qingyu murmured in her mouth. Fusion. 3 days later, in the morning after stretching lazily, Qingyu sat up from the bed, checked the balance in the card and the food in the house, and fell into a bad mood. In these 3 days, apart from realizing that I have no relatives, there is no difference in other aspects compared to my previous life. Thinking of today's day, Qingyu also began to wash up with enthusiasm and blood. After a while, a doorbell rang, causing Qingyu to put down her snacks and cola in her hand. After opening the door and signing the package, Qingyu returned to her room and looked at the package in front of her, feeling uncontrollable excitement. After glancing at the time, unpacking the package and touching the exquisite helmet, Qingyu calmed her mood and began packing up her things. After all, what if I get addicted to it? In the blink of an eye, it was already noon. Taking a glance at the clean room, Qingyu sighed and slowly put on her helmet. Welcome players to the era of elves. With the start of the game, an electronic sound is also heard immediately. May the system officially start. From this moment on, the surrounding scenery also began to undergo earth-shattering changes. Is this the world of elves? As soon as he opened his eyes, the scenery before him intoxicated Qingyu. The beginner gift package has been distributed, please pay attention to it, Mr. Qingyu. Upon hearing the system prompt, Qingyu silently opened her own panel and clicked on the beginner gift pack to use it. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for obtaining the Tianming Bakmeng, a super new human body, synchronized with reality, and the intelligence system has been activated. At the moment the reward was distributed, a staff elf ball appeared in Qingyu's hand. Tianming Bakmeng is a reflection of the regret and beauty in your past life. Wishing you a pleasant journey. Upon hearing these words, Qingyu looked at the elf ball in her hand and murmured, the sun is shining, why did it rain? Thank you, may go, my destiny. The colorful light flickered in front of Qingyu, and as the light grew smaller and smaller, a small figure also appeared in front of Qingyu. Looking at this figure, Qingyu also laughed. Is it really you? Step forward and gently pick it up. Please give it more guidance in the future. Larula's the sunlight falls on the fingers of Qingyu and Larula's lightly touching each other, and fate begins to form from this moment. Chapter 2. Initial. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Putting Larula's on his shoulder, feeling the immense strength on his body, Qingyu began to run for a while. Along the way, Qingyu and Larula's also got to know each other through telepathy. Qingyu, who had been running for an unknown amount of time, looked at the rushing waterfall in front of her with a joyful expression on her face. Looking at the Pokémon around the circle, Qingyu also picked up the water with her hand to relieve the heat. The system intelligence has been turned on, and upon hearing the electronic sound of the wish system, Qingyu was also taken aback. May the system have loaded new features. Please check with Mr. Qingyu. Looking at the new combat function, Qingyu also began to gain a detailed understanding. Get random rewards by battling powerful trainers. After learning about it, Qingyu looked at Lalula's on her shoulder and then at the magical treasure in the river, showing a smile. Lalula's magic leaf. As the carp kings turned into dots of light and disappeared one by one, Lalula's also gasped for breath. After picking up Lalula's and placing him on his shoulder, Qingyu also handed over a few sticks of fruit. Hard work, Lalula's. Taking a bite on the fruit, Lalula's, who was full of juice, also responded with a thank you. Feeling curious about the unknown, Qingyu walked along a small path towards the direction of the town. After walking for a while, the faint outline that appeared in the distance finally breathed a sigh of relief, and the speed under her feet accelerated again. Just as Qingyu saw the full picture of the town, a group of onlookers caught Qingyu's attention. Squeezing into the crowd, Qingyu also saw a sign. The winner gives 10,000. The loser pays 500. Turning her head to look at the person sitting in the chair and the magical treasure next to her, Qingyu also revealed a hint of clarity. Gently kneading Lalula's, Qingyu also walked forward. That, I want to challenge. As Qingyu spoke, the person sitting in the chair also stood up, glanced at Lalula's, and smiled, saying, Level 9. Just barely. Go, little fire dragon. Little fire dragon, level 12, go ahead, little one. Lalu. Lalula's, level 9, little fire dragon, dragon breath. Upon hearing this skill, Qingyu also smiled and held on. The person across from me was also taken aback when they saw the green barrier. The wave of water. Boom, come on, little fire dragon. Take another dragon breath. Lalula's, the battle is over, 100,000 volts. The thick thunder and lightning instantly tore apart the dragon's breath and rushed towards the little fire dragon. The person across from him looked at the fallen little dragon, but he hadn't regained his senses for a long time. As for Qingyu, I already took 10,000 yuan and ran away. Pinching Lalula's face, Qingyu also burst into praise. Lalula's, level 10, Destiny. Destiny. Possess all the beauty and blessings in the world, master all skills, and enhance power. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for elevating his destiny to level 10. Reward him with a first win gift package and a level 10 gift package. May the system's prompt sound fall into Qingyu's ears, making the originally beautiful mood even more beautiful. After giving Lalula's a fierce kiss on the face, Qingyu also opened the first victory gift package and the 10th level gift package. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for earning 100,000 yuan, 10 advanced balls, 1 space backpack, enhanced Lalula's attributes, and plus 1 Lalula's perfection. Looking at the sudden appearance of the backpack and a group of rewards, Qingyu quickly picked up Lalula's and checked for changes. After looking around, she gave up. However, it seemed like softer and more fragrant. Shaking away any unnecessary thoughts in her mind, Qingyu walked towards the small town in front of her, holding on to Lalula's. Chapter 3. Agreement, Heart, Qingling Moon. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Entering the small town, at a glance, the surrounding architectural style and the appearance of the pedestrians on the road caught Qingyu's eye. Hey, brother, how about a battle? Looking for the sound, Qingyu also apologized to the tall man. Watching the disappointed figure leave, Qingyu suddenly became interested in players like herself. With a moment of longing, I also remembered that I had never been offline before. When I clicked on my panel, Qingyu also clicked on it. Under continuous clicking, seeing that the surrounding environment had not changed at all, Qingyu urgently called the wish system. With the instructions issued by the wish system, Qingyu's mood became somewhat complicated. Glancing at the players and NPCs coming and going, and then at Lalula's in his arms, Qingyu also let out a sigh. Forget it, let's settle down as soon as we come. No wonder a player just started fighting against me. In the eyes of the players, I was already an NBA player, really speechless. In the face of indecisiveness, Qingyu also kissed Lalula's once again and went to see the cuisine of the other world. Putting Lalula's on his shoulder, Qingyu also began to sweep the restaurant and snack street. Along the way, the soft and cute voice of Lalula's also made Qingyu feel very happy. Inside the restaurant, Qingyu touched her bulging belly and began to recall some things in her mind. Player, merge, open your eyes again, and Qingyu's expression also began to change. It seems like she needs to move forward. Stepping out of the restaurant, I casually pressed my own panel, and my face also showed a look as expected. After enjoying a warm sunshine and buying a tent and a group of daily necessities, Qingyu also walked towards the outside of the town. After all, she couldn't take on the task now, so she had to work hard to reach the level of Lalula's. At dusk, Qingyu, who arrived at the forest, watched as the players coming and going around also walked deeper, and couldn't help but secretly say to herself, "Great hero, you are so kind." As the sky gradually darkened, Qingyu also began to set up a tent. During this time, Lalula's mental power made the work much easier. Sitting in front of the tent, the peaceful atmosphere made Qingyu feel a sense of loneliness. Xiao Yu. The soft and cute voice interrupted Qingyu's thoughts, and as she looked at Lalula's in her arms with a worried but cautious expression, Qingyu's face also showed an apology. "Sorry, Lalula's." Upon hearing Qingyu's words, Lalula's also responded. "Xiao Yu doesn't need to apologize. No matter what happens in the future, I will always be with you." Lalula's words struck Qingyu's heart like a heavy hammer. The moon in the sky, at some point, has already draped a silver coat over the earth. The cold wind blows the blue language, while also stirring up his thoughts carrying Lalula's into the tent. The warm feeling made Qingyu's face bloom with a smile. "Lalula's, let me give you a name." Lalula's nodded as he looked at Qingyu's pleading expression. Seeing Lalula's agree, Qingyu's mind also began to spin rapidly. "It's called Qingling, how about it?" Lalula's also tilted his head to look at Qingyu when he heard the name. Lingyue. Lalula's looked at Qingyu, who was giggling foolishly while shouting his name, and an inexplicable emotion appeared in his heart. Qingling Moon. "Do I also have a name at night?" Qingyu held Qingling Moon tightly in her arms, as if she would disappear in the next second, murmuring in her mouth that we would never part. Chapter 4. Wooden House. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Take a break, Lingyue. Before Qingling could speak, Qingyu hugged her in her arms. "Xiao Yu, I'm not tired," so I pouted and looked at Qingyu. Qingyu looked at the lovely Qingling in her arms and smiled before stuffing a piece of candy into her mouth. After placing Qingling on the soft cushion, Qingyu also started making breakfast. Qingling, with her mouth full of food, looked at the back of Qingyu cooking and remembered something. A blush appeared on her face. After a period of time a burst of fragrance successfully stopped Qingling from daydreaming, whispering, "I want to eat." Turning her head to look at the eager Qingling, Qingyu's mood also flashed a subtle feeling. After the feeding was over, Qingyu looked at Qingling with a red face and asked with concern. Upon hearing Qingyu's words, Qingling also replied, "Xiao Yu, I can eat by myself." He lowered his head completely. Qingyu burst into laughter as she watched this scene. After dinner, Qingyu and Qingling in the forest also started their restaurant sports under the pursuit of a group of big needles. I don't know how far she ran, but just as Qingyu was about to turn back and fight, the river ahead instantly lifted Qingyu's mood to heaven. With a splash, a large amount of water splashed by Qingyu. Feeling the water river driving her body to walk, Qingyu was about to accept her fate when a white light flickered on the grass. Qingling patted Qingyu's cheek with her hand and looked at Qingyu, who had not yet woken up, with a wicked smile on her face. Ah! The huge stimulation made Qingyu squint slightly as she looked at Lingyue. After placing Qingling on her lap, a sound echoed in the forest. I was wrong, whispering, light, light. Qingling, who was holding her but, made a decision in her heart as she looked at Qingyu with a smile on her face. Accompanied by the fall of a large armor, Qingling's body also emitted a burst of white light. Boom! The white light dissipated, and the dignified Qingling moon in front of Qingyu caught her eye. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for successfully entering the next stage of his destiny. Reward him with an evolutionary gift package. The sound in her mind prompted Qingyu, who was holding Qingling, to kiss her face twice again. Qingling felt the wetness on her face and shyly lowered her head. Open the evolution gift package, may the system. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for obtaining the perfect version of Cerulean +1 and increasing the attribute value of Cerulean. Seeing the reward of perfection +1 again, Qingyu also asked what the purpose of the wish system was. Accompanied by a burst of electronic sounds, a line of characters also appeared on Qingyu's panel. One of the powers of Tianming Cerulean. After reading this line of characters, Qingyu also clicked on the panel of Qingling. Qingling Moon, Level 16, Destiny. Destiny. Possess all the beauty and blessings of the world, master all skills, enhance skill power, and have no breakthrough limitations. Looking at the additional abilities, Qingyu nodded thoughtfully. Let's go, Lingyue. Well, Xiaoyu. Lingyue, spray flames. Boom! Let's take a break, Lingyue. After taking a few breaths, Qingling said, it's not tiring, Xiaoyu. Qingyu shook her head helplessly as she looked at Qingling, then picked her up and placed her on her shoulder. Walking into the forest again, a sudden wooden house made Qingyu curious. Just as she was about to walk towards the wooden house, a sharp light blade struck Qingyu. Chapter 5. Guardianship, Soul. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With the flash of the knife light, Qingyu's heart suddenly quickened. On the side, a brilliant golden light flickered in Qingling's eyes. The airflow slowly calmed down, and as she looked at the flying mantis frozen in front of her, a sense of fear rose in Qingyu's heart. Come back, flying mantis. As the figure in front of her left, Qingling beside her also collapsed to the ground in an instant. Moon. Picking up Qingling Moon, Qingyu also saw the visitor's face clearly. Zhensi. The person across from him also looked at Qingyu in confusion when he heard this call. Holding Qingling tightly in her arms, Qingyu looked at the person and the flying mantis walking towards her step by step, feeling a sense of tension in her heart. Sorry. The person in front of her who bent down to apologize and the flying mantis also let Qingyu breathe a sigh of relief. Please come with me. There are therapeutic items in my cabin, and my name is Yan Yi. Upon hearing Yan Yi's words, Qingyu awkwardly smiled and quickly ran towards the wooden house. Xiao Yu. The faint voice prompted Qingyu to quickly lift Qingling up slightly, and after feeding her 2 sips of water, Qingyu also said, Are you feeling better? Moon. Qingling also responded to Qingyu with a smile upon seeing this. Sorry, Cerulean. After Qingyu's explanation, Qingling looked down at Yan Yi, who dared not look at her, and the flying mantis Qingling also used telepathy to forgive each other. After a period of time, through rest, Qingling's spirit also returned to a full state. Through this conversation, Qingyu also learned about the general situation of Yan Yi. Goodbye, Xiaoyi. Wishing you a speedy meeting with your brother. Farewell to Yan Yi. Qingyu touched Qingling's head and also said sorry. Qingling looked at the serious Qingyu with a smile on her face. We will become the strongest, stronger than anyone else, right? Xiaoyu. Qingyu burst out laughing when she heard Qingling's words. That's right, we will be stronger than anyone else. At dusk, Qingyu wiped the sweat off her head and looked at Qingling's smile and encouragement, as if the fatigue on her body had disappeared. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for understanding the meaning of protection. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu, your destiny has reached level 20. Reward level 20 upgrade gift package, Guardian gift package. Upon hearing the prompt sound of the wish system, Qingyu didn't rush to turn it on. She placed Qingling on her shoulder and walked towards the river. The sky and earth were vast, and bathing was the greatest. After a while, Qingyu lay inside the tent, looking at Qingling, who was blushing and didn't look at her, and also scratched her head in confusion. After thinking for a while without any results, Qingyu silently recited. May, open the gift package. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for obtaining the perfect version of Cerulean +1, enhanced Cerulean attribute values, super reaction, and synchronized physique, game. Looking at these rewards, Qingyu also felt the change in her body in an instant. Yuer, that's great. I can protect you now. Qingling was also taken aback when she heard Qingyu's words, not even realizing that Qingyu hugged and kissed her twice. Just as she was about to speak, Qingyu's deep sleep made Qingling touch Qingling's face with a smile. Qingling whispered, "Thank you, Xiaoyu." As the moonlight falls, the atmosphere inside the tent becomes even brighter. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for officially establishing a spiritual connection with Tianming. Reward the spiritual gift pack. In this atmosphere, the voice of the wish system couldn't help but become a bit gentle. Perhaps the true meaning of power is to guard. Chapter 6. Strong. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. In the early morning, with the dazzling special effects of her skills, Qingyu looked at the time and also began to walk towards the tent. Turning around and shouting Yuer, a petite figure also rushed into Qingyu's arms. Alright, let's take a break first. We'll have dinner later. Upon hearing Qingyu's gentle words, Qingling obediently sat in the tent and watched as Qingyu began to get busy. Looking at the white clouds in the sky, Qingling touched the bright necklace on her chest, and a wave of sweetness surged in her heart. Yuer, it's time for dinner at the dinner table. Looking at Yuer, who was still obsessed with necklaces, Qingyu also reminded her that the meal was about to cool down. Upon hearing Qingyu's words, Qingling also blushed and took a bite of fried eggs. Watching Yuer eat elegantly, Qingyu touched the ring on her finger and couldn't help but feel a slight lift in her mouth as she recalled Yuer's behavior last night. After dinner, Qingyu, who marched into the forest again, was also shocked by the sturdy tree in front of him. This is too big, isn't it? Walking forward and observing up close, Qingyu became even more curious about this tree. Glancing at the dense branches and leaves on her head, Qingyu felt an urge to climb a tree. With his strong physique and the help of Qingling, Qingyu also reached the first branch of the tree. After a few breaths, the scene before her made Qingyu more interested in this tree. Climbing up again, as she rose higher and higher, a yellow figure also appeared in front of Qingyu. What is this? Big needle tip. Looking at the magical baby Qingyu in front of me, who looks like a big needle, I dare not be careless. After all, I am not a player who can resurrect now. Moon, phantom light. Boom! According to the law of no harm with smoke, Qingyu quickly shouted. Instantly move, flame fist. In an instant, Qingling, whose hands were wrapped in flames, appeared next to Big Needle. The collision of skills once again made Qingyu frown. Big Needle, level 50, Forest Guardian. Is it level 50? Moon, Shadow Clone, Meditation. With the exchange of soul rings and soul necklaces, Qingyu and Qingling can now engage in both verbal and spiritual communication. As he was about to continue his contemplation, the shadow clone also disappeared in an instant. Looking at the shining needle of the Big Needle, Qingyu had a preliminary judgment on the strength and speed of the Big Needle. Moon, light wall, pray for rain. With the disappearance of the figure of the Big Needle, the alarm bell also rang in Qingling's ear, cross-cutting. Boom Moon. I'm fine, Xiaoyu. You can't be distracted yet. Upon hearing Qingling's words, Qingyu's face was also earnestly staring at the big needle in the sky. Rock blockade, freezing light. As Qingyu's words came to an end, rocks appeared out of thin air and charged towards the big needle. The blue light that followed also made the big needle feel threatened. As the body of the big needle flickered again, the instant shattering of the rock and the piercing of the freezing light made Qingyu also full of interest in this big needle. Moon, shadow clone, rock blockade. Crush again, block tightly once again. With the help of skills such as light walls and defense, Qingling has also withstood multiple injuries. Qingyu picked up the small stones that had fallen on the branches and leaves, and the enclosed space around her made Qingyu smile slightly. Yuer, Nianli, falling stone. The rise of the small stone made the entire space appear even darker, and the big needle also woke up in this moment. The whole body began to burst out with a powerful momentum, like a sharp sword rushing towards Qingling. Qingling also waved her hand as she saw this, countless small stones carrying strong power charging towards the big needle. Boom. Chapter 7. The Barrier of Trees. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The smoke dissipated, and the faint big needle in front of her relieved Qingyu. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for elevating his destiny to level 30 and rewarding him with a level 30 upgrade gift package. Long lost upon hearing the sound of the wish system, Qingyu also glanced at Yuer's state. Qingling Moon, Kalolian, level 35, Destiny. Destiny. Possessing all the beauty and blessings of the world, proficient in all skills, enhanced power, no breakthrough limitations, and a clean body. Open the gift package, May. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for increasing the attribute value of Karolian, which has been perfected by +1. Upon hearing the familiar reward Qingyu, I also observed Qingling as usual. Yuer, do you feel anything in your body? After feeling the changes in her body, Qingling said, I feel that the mental and physical energy I just used up has recovered quickly, and the fatigue on my body is also there. Xiaoyu. It seems that perfection is to give Yuer an additional ability, which is the reward for every upgrade. With this in mind, Qingyu's gaze at Qingling burst into a brilliant light. Qingling looked at Qingyu slowly walking towards her and felt a fear she had never experienced before. Xiaoyu. Wang, with a burst of golden light rising, it also successfully interrupted the atmosphere between Qingling and Qingyu. Turning his head to look, the figure accompanied by the large needle tip turned into a burst of golden light and dissipated, as if the branches and leaves on the flat ground were also beginning to grow upwards. The branch and leaf stairs that appeared out of thin air also confirmed Qingyu's speculation in her heart. After a period of time after nodding to Qingyu, Qingling, who had regained her fullness, also walked up the stairs together. With the swaying of the branches and leaves, an arena made up of twigs appeared in front of Qingyu. With the appearance of a figure, a hint of seriousness appeared on Qingyu's face. Flying Mantis, level 60. Forest Guardian. Take the initiative first, Moon, Shadow Clone, Meditation. The flying mantis watched as Qingling Moon appeared, and the blade in its hand also began to dance. As the shadow clones disappeared one by one, Qingyu also saw the weakness of the flying mantis, which did not cause widespread damage. Moon. Shadow Avatar, Spiritual Empowerment. Seeing the flying mantis start sword dancing, Qingyu quickly said, Spiritual Strength, Big Character Explosion. Green light flashed by, and the powerful explosion that cut open the big characters instantly caused a burst of smoke to rise around. Xiaoyu, the clone was quickly dissipating, and before he could finish speaking, a blade came to Qingling in a blink of an eye, guarding the inverted Qingling Moon made Qingyu's heart tighten. Yuer. Instantly move. The next second, a huge blade was cut under Qingling's body. Moon, Shadow Clone, Pray for Rain. The flying mantis looked at Qingling Moon across from it, and its flying momentum began to increase again with the dance of its blade. Moon, Fine Snow, Freezing Light. At this point, the temperature began to drop rapidly. Cheer! The red aura slowly rose with the cry of the flying mantis, and Qingyu quickly said, "Storm, rock blockade." In an instant, the figure of the flying mantis flickered in the wind and snow, the rocks shattered one by one, and the shadows disappeared one by one. Qingling looked at the flying mantis appearing in front of her and quickly used her defense to move in an instant. In the competition, the appearance and disappearance of two figures made Qingyu feel deeply powerless. What to do? Yuer cannot withstand two sword dances. Resist, yes. Resist it. Yuer, hold on. After dodging the sword of the flying mantis again, Qingling heard Qinjiuduan's telepathy and instantly understood her plan. Boom Yuer, absolutely zero. Chapter 8. Moon. Link. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With the blessing of various ice skills and seeking rain, even Qingyu, who has a strong physique, feels the piercing cold. Staring nervously at the flying mantis lying on the ground, Qingyu breathed a sigh of relief as a burst of green light appeared from the mantis. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for elevating his destiny to level 40 and receiving a level 40 upgrade gift package as a reward. With the sound of the wish system, a white light emerged from Qingling's body. Shanai. The white light dissipated, and the figure of Qingling stood quietly in place. Her bright eyes were like the stars in the sky, making Qingyu feel lost in it. Xiaoyu. Turning to her senses and looking at Qingling with a light smile, Qingyu also walked towards her step by step. Xiaoyu. Yuer, the soft touch made Qingyu even more nostalgic. After a kiss, the two blushing faces lowered their heads and dared not look at each other. After a long time, a word of apology drifted into the ears of Qingling. Qingling looked at Qingyu, who was in a low mood. After a touch of red light appeared on her face again, she firmly pressed Qingyu's lips. I like Xiaoyu. So there's no need to say I'm sorry. Qingyu stared blankly at the tightly closed eyes of Qingling in front of her. I also like Yuer and hope she doesn't laugh at me. Xiaoyu, tears flickered in Qingling's eyes. What does it have to do with our recognition in the world? I only know that you are my only destiny. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for finding his true intention, breaking the last lock of his soul, and rewarding Shanado with spiritualization. Upon hearing the voice of the wish system, Qingyu also opened the gift package together. Congratulations to Mr. Qingyu for obtaining the perfect Shanado +1 and increasing the Shanado attribute value. As the words of the wish system came to an end, Shanado also disappeared in front of Qingyu in an instant. Moon. Mr. Qingyu doesn't have to worry, he just started to become spiritualized. Upon hearing the voice of the wish system, Qingyu's heart also stabilized a lot. With a hopeful mood, Qingyu opened the panel of her own wife. Qingling Moon, Shanado, level 42, Heavenly Mandate, Spiritualization in progress. Destiny. Possessing all the beauty and blessings of the world, proficient in all skills, enhanced in power, without breaking through limitations, natural energy, a clean body, and a premonition of good and evil. The luxurious panel in front of her also surprised Qingyu, and then a sweet feeling emerged in her heart. After a period of time, Qingyu also looked up at this competition venue transformed by branches and leaves. According to my own speculation, this should be a dungeon that players are going to do, but I don't know if my current NBC template can receive rewards. After thinking fruitlessly, Qingyu also decided to catch a nap and fell asleep with a beautiful mood for the moon. Time flies, accompanied by a sound, Qingling's figure appears in front of Qingyu. A head of silver long hair fluttered in the wind, bright eyes captivating people, and a slender figure wrapped in a black, long skirt appeared even more alluring. Compared to the normal Shanado, Qingling at this time seems more like a person with the characteristics of Shanado. Qingling looked at Qingyu sleeping, with a hint of concern on her lips. With her superpowers, she found the blanket from the backpack under Qingyu's head and gently covered her body. Then he tilted his small head and quietly looked at Qingyu, the smile at the corner of his mouth and the tenderness in his eyes making this scene even more dreamy and wonderful. In her sleep, Qingyu felt a gentle breath and a faint fragrance, and her eyes slowly opened. Chapter 9. Suppression. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The elusive figure and the fragrance wafted and instantly cleared Qingyu's confused mind. Moon. Looking at the adorable Yuer in front of her, Qingyu's heart pounded faster without any hesitation. Xiaoyu, compared to her previous soft and cute voice, now Qinglingyu's voice has added a touch of temptation, making Qingyu unable to stop. Yuer, you are so beautiful. The fiery gaze in front of Qingyu made Qinglingyu's face a bit scorching. It's time to go, Xiaoyu. Upon hearing Qingling's words, Qingyu also suppressed the surge in her heart and looked up the long staircase. Holding Qingling's soft little hand, Qingyu walked towards the stairs. With the arrival of Qingyu and Qinglingyu, the scene before us began to change. Accompanied by the familiar venue, a figure emerged in front of Qingyu and Qinglingyu with a powerful pressure. Shirabi. The figure in front of her made Kinjusi both dare not be careless. Shirabi, level 70. Forest Guardian. Moon, Shadow Clone, Shadow Ball. After a quiet glance at Qinglingyu, Shirabi's figure disappeared instantly. The next second, a precise green wave appeared behind Qinglingyu, moving instantly. Qinglingyu was also surprised as she stood in another place, looking at the big hole under the branches and leaves. If it weren't for her premonition of good and evil, she might have been injured. Moon, free to dodge and attack. Upon hearing Qingyu's words, Qinglingyu saw two shadow balls in her hands and threw them towards Shirabi. Her figure moved instantly and began to dodge Shirabi's counterattack. Qingyu stared at the battle in the field and her mind began to spin rapidly. Do you use plants to locate the position of the moon, and it seems like you can't use up all your energy? Watching as Rabbi was attacked again and then healed from a green light, Qingyu began to fall into a moment of contemplation. In the field, Qinglingyu began to catch her breath slightly, and her prolonged momentary movements and attacks caused her physical and mental strength to rapidly decline. No, we have to carry it hard for a while. Qinglingyu gently raised her hand, and walls and green light curtains enveloped her. Just as she was about to breathe a sigh of relief, the momentary shattering of the surrounding light curtain and wall caused Qinglingyu to move again in an instant. Launch another attack, only to see Shirabi floating quietly in the air, and Qinglingyu staring at Shirabi inexplicably. The quiet atmosphere was broken with the next second of the rabbi's singing. At this moment, Qingyu also opened her eyes and stared closely at Shirabi, the song of the end. What should I do? The inner anxiety caused beads of sweat to appear on Qingyu's forehead. With the sound of the song, Qinglingyu felt an inexplicable increase in energy inside her body. Yuer, find a way to interrupt the connection between Shirabi and her surroundings, and it's best to use spatial techniques. The sudden words of Qingyu flashed a glimmer of light in Qinglingyu's eyes. After taking defensive measures around her again, Qinglingyu began to gather a shining blade in her hand. There was a hint of solemnity in the eyes of Shirabi as he looked at the light blade. Qinglingyu looked at Shirabi, who was about to dodge, with a golden light in her eyes. Lock in. The next second, a light blade rushes towards Shirabi, and Yakong slashes. Boom! Accompanied by the slashing of Yakong, Qinglingyu's body began to experience intense pain. However, Shirabi no longer dodged as he looked at the light blade rushing towards him, and a glance at the cracks on Qinglingyu's body also revealed a hint of clarity. Did spatial backlash occur when forcibly using this skill due to unfamiliarity with it? Qingyu watched as the painful Qinglingyu rushed forward to hold her in her arms. As the cracks on Qinglingyu's body increased, droplets of water fell onto her face. Opening her eyes and looking at the tearful Qingyu, Qinglingyu spoke softly. Xiaoyu doesn't cry, Yuer is fine. Moon. May the system save Yuer. May the system also say. Heart-to-heart connection, linking sincerity together. Upon hearing the sound of the wish system, Qingyu looked at the painful Yuer and extended the ring to the necklace on her chest. As the necklace touched the ring, a dazzling white light enveloped everything around her. Chapter 10. Past, Future. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Moon. Suddenly opening her eyes and looking at the familiar yet unfamiliar environment around her, Qingyu was stunned for a moment. Standing under the blackboard in the back amidst the laughter of the crowd, looking at the familiar characters around him, Qingyu suddenly felt extremely unfamiliar. Brother Yu, Brother Yu. Two soft calls brought Qingyu back to her senses and looked at her. Mu Tian Tian. After an uncertain shout, the reaction of the person in front of him began to become somewhat exaggerated. Isn't it, Brother Yu? You won't lose your memory from sleep, will you? Qingyu, who was about to say something, was also interrupted by a voice, Mu Tian Tian. You also stand behind. For a moment, the classroom was filled with laughter. Looking at Mu Tian Tian standing next to her, Qingyu couldn't help but burst into laughter. She shook her head twice, feeling like she had forgotten something important. Brother Yu, what's wrong with you today? Feeling a bit foolish. Upon hearing Mu Tiantian's words, Qingyu looked at the classroom in front of her and felt a wonderful change in her heart. Time flies, and in the unconscious chat with Mu Tian Tian, the bell for the end of class quietly rings. Dinner's over, Brother Yu, let's take a walk. The hurried Mu Tian Tian made Qingyu feel a hint of warmth. Along the way, Mu Tiantian's various topics gave Qingyu a slight headache. Brother Yu, today's store has received a batch of new products. Can you help me choose the ones that are packaged? Upon hearing Mu Tiantian's words, Qingyu felt a strong desire in her heart. Looking at the nearby store, Qingyu quickened her pace and walked in. Later, Mu Tian Tian was also surprised to see this. Has Brother Yu's realm already surpassed mine? Not even eating food. Wait for me, Brother Yu. Entering the store, my heart began to beat even more violently. Brother Yu, over there. Looking at the packaging card package pointed at by Mu Tian Tian, Qingyu came to the front of it and picked up one of the bags. However, the surge in her heart disappeared in an instant. Mu Tian Tian looked at Qingyu as he had already taken one package, and suddenly began to scrutinize the remaining few packages. Brother Yu, help me take a look. Qingyu looked at the remaining packages and ordered one of them before paying and leaving the store. Brother Yu, have you learned metaphysics yet? Mu Tian Tian, who hurriedly ran out, also interrupted Qingyu's rhythm of preparing to unpack. Watching Mu Tian Tian start to worship the heavens and the earth, Qingyu also burst into laughter. Watch me ship directly. After opening the 3 pack cards in his hand, Mu Tian Tian began to carefully read them one by one. No, isn't it? Returning after another great defeat. Qingyu looked at the lost Mu Tian Tian and said, where is the bag I'm referring to? Upon hearing Qingyu's words, Mu Tian Tian also took out a bag of cards, and of course, Brother Yu chose to open it last. With the power of my language, brother, come out. Looking through it again, Mu Tian Tian also piqued some interest in this small pack of cards among Qingyu's opponents. Slowly opening it, Qingyu couldn't help but become addicted to the exquisite cards in front of her. Language, brother. The sudden exclamation interrupted Qingyu's thoughts once again. Watching the pleasantly surprised Mu Tian Tian place a card in front of him, Qingyu also saw clearly what was on it, frozen bird. Mu Tian Tian quickly said, the quick freezing bird that can emit light. Brother Yu, you will be my adopted father in the future. Qingyu also laughed when she heard this sentence. Flipping open the cards in her hand, the appearance of a figure made Qingyu's heart unable to suppress a violent surge. On the side, Mu Tian looked at the card and said, alas, is there such a shining Shanado? However, It's really beautiful. Qingyu stared closely at this card, Yuer. Give the rest of the cards to Mu Tian Tian, and Qingyu runs in one direction with the Shanado in her hand, Yuer. Wait for me.